and welcome back to another video of jPlay. I am Marcus and today I will walk you through some rounds of Grand Austria Hotel. In this game, players run their own little hotel and try to, let's say, occupy as many rooms as possible. First of all, you have to repair those rooms, and later on you can basically place those guests from your restaurant or from your cafe into the rooms up there. In this case, I will demo a 3-player game and I will not do a full playthrough here today. I think I will more or less run through one entire round, and this should really give you an idea of what this game actually feels like. And I have to really confess, I like this game a lot. This is one of my new favorite all-time Euro style games. It's really a lot of fun, and one of the reasons for that is the very clever way of how you get your actions in this game. I will explain that everything in detail in a minute, but guess what? It has to do with dice. I think you could sort that out yourself. But on top of this, there's also this huge variety of different hotel guests which you basically want to lure in to your hotel in order to make you rich. And then there is the insane variety in respect to this personnel which you can hire throughout this game, but I also come to that in a second. I have pretty much prepared the whole game, though this would be the blue player. Each of the players starts with 10 bucks. They start with those 4 resources. There's strudel, cake, coffee and wine. Yeah, represented by those cubes here. We already have a selection of different hotel guests waiting to get into our cafe. I randomly drew those extra, let's call it mission cards or goal cards, which the players will be able to achieve throughout the game. And I did pretty much the same for the favors or for the penalties from the Emperor, which we also have to make happy in order not to suffer any penalties basically. Normally you do a drafting in order to claim those personal cards at the start of the game. But I decided, for the sake of time, to make it easier and use the so-called presets, which show this little letter here on the down left corner of the personnel card. So player 1 would start with the A set, player 2 would take the B set, and so on. That's not ideal, I have to tell you that. They are pretty straightforward personnel cards. That's, I think, the idea of those cards, but overall they're not entirely powerful, and of course you have now to basically rely on what you get here. But I think we should be good. As part of setup, each player gets one of those guests for free. Normally you would have to pay the costs that are printed below those slots, but again, the first pick is free, and you start with the last player. Green is always great because they're the tourists, or called wildcards. So I think player 3 will totally go for Mr. Boydell here. Everything else will slide down. We will reveal a new guest. This is Baroness, but of course we still have to seat Mr. Boydell into player number 3's cafe. One thing to notice, you can place them anywhere you like, but once they are seated, they will never leave you unless you assign them a room in your hotel. So you really have to be careful, especially until the end of the game, not to seat too many guests into your cafe, because for each guest you will lose some victory points. Player 2 will go for the red guest here. Normally this would cost him 2 bucks, but yeah, it's part of the setup. We will reveal a new one. Okay, that's a sculptor it seems. And of course we have to seat this official here as well. And last but not least, it's the pick of the first player, and he will go for this count here. So let's slide everything down. Let's reveal a new guest, another Baroness here. Okay, and the last step of the setup is that all the players now can prepare 3 of their rooms, but here they have to pay. The first floors, or the ground floor basic, doesn't cost you anything. The first floor would get you 1, or the second floor, depending on where you do. In Germany that would be the first floor, but let's say this is the first floor, second floor and so on. So he would have to pay $1 per room. So I think blue player will be pretty cheap. He will go for the rooms that doesn't cost him any money. But I think that's really a valid strategy in this game. But I think the yellow player will follow a slightly different strategy here. The first room always have to be the bottom left one, that's for sure. And all the other rooms have to be adjacent to another room that has been prepared. I think he will do it like this. This doesn't cost him any money, but the next room like this, I think, let's see, maybe, yeah, why not? Let's have him prepare this room here as well. This would now cost him $1, $1, so we would have to adjust his money track here accordingly. And purple does it like blue, so it doesn't cost him any money to prepare those rooms. One thing that is important to mention, that your hotel consists of so-called areas, I think. So this would be an area, this is an area, this is an area. So they are separated by those walls and those really solid lines here. As soon as you are finishing one of your areas, you get some bonies. Both you have not just to prepare those hotels, you also have to put in actual guests into those rooms. But I come to the bonus in a second. They're all printed on top of your hotel. So whenever you are completing a blue area here consisting of 4, you would gain 15 victory points, which is actually really quite a lot. For red rooms you get money, and for yellow rooms you can gain favor from the emperor, which is really important because the penalties you get when you don't make the emperor happy are pretty tough. The rewards are okay, I guess, but really the penalties definitely suck. So you really want to make sure to at least not really annoy the emperor. There's also a way that you can be, let's say, neutral with the emperor. Then you don't gain anything, but you don't lose anything, but you really don't want to get the penalty. Okay, I guess we can get started. The first player will roll all the action dice that are available in a 3-player game. There is a different number of dice you're using depending on with how many players you play the game with. So let's see what he will roll. Yeah, let's roll this one here again. So this is now the result or the pool that is available for this year. I will now assign all those dice to the main game board, and those are now the actions that are available in this round. Luckily all actions are available, so from 1 to 6, and it's pretty even out. So at times you really find yourself in the position that you have a lot of dice that show the value of 5 here, which means you can hire personnel relatively cheap, or more of these 4 dice which provide you either favor points from the emperor or actual money in this case. But yeah, this is really pretty balanced or pretty even among those numbers. Okay, let's start with a blue player with the first action, and the very first thing that you are allowed to do is to grab a customer from the public display and lure him into your cafe. I think blue wants to go for yellow customer, and this yellow customer doesn't cost him any money, so I think he's fine with that. So everything else will slide down. We will reveal a new one. That's a tourist. Great. So let's place the new yellow customer into the cafe of the blue player, and you guessed it right, you only have 3 slots for those customers. And then he will go for a main action here, so he will decide for either of those. And I think he wants to prepare some rooms, so he will go to action 3, which says you can prepare rooms with the dice. Now you count the number of dice that are available. Right now that's 2. So he would be allowed to prepare 2 rooms of any color he likes within his hotel. He could go for an additional action here, and this additional action would allow him to spend $1 extra in order to add some kind of virtual die here. You can only do this additional action once per turn. All the other additional actions you can basically do unlimited amount of times during a turn, but I think in this case he's fine. He will go for preparing 2 of those rooms. So let's grab one of those dice. He will place the die on his first action spot here. Now he's still allowed to prepare 2 of those rooms, and I think he will go for the cheap ones, and keep in mind the ground floor is free of charge in order to preparing those rooms. This was pretty much his turn. Then it's the yellow player, and I think he wants to hire some personnel here or a staff card. You can only hire staff cards which you have on your hand, and at the start of the game this comes from the drafting mechanism. In this case I used the entry version of the game. There's only one die available, and this one die tells you that you can reduce the hiring cost by 1. So basically $1 per die that's present here. So let's grab this one single die, place it on his turn order token here, and then he decided to hire the restaurant manager. This would normally cost him $2, but because there was one die at the action 5, he can reduce that price by 1, so he only has to pay $1 here. And the restaurant manager gives you an ongoing effect until the end of the game. So whenever you take the action 1 or 2, this is considered to be 1 more dice in the pool. This is really awesome, especially when you get this card relatively early in the game. And I just noticed that I forgot to claim a customer at the start of the game. It's really important to grab those. I think I will go for the Baroness here. Let's slide everyone else down. Here we have another yellow customer. And now it's a turn of the purple player. So he has the 3 token here, and this time I won't forget to claim a customer, and I think I also will go for a yellow customer. This doesn't cost me anything, so again let's slide everyone down and let's grab the sculptor, and afterwards he will take his main action, and I think he will go for this action here. So we can now take strudel or cake, basically in any combination, but you can never have more cake than strudel, depicted by this symbol here. So in this case he will keep it pretty simple: 1 strudel, 1 cake. Let's grab them, and every resource you get during your turn you can directly place on one of your customers or several of your customers. So you don't have to spend an action or pay money in order to do that. In this case, this Mr. Boydell here, he wants 1 strudel, he wants 1 cake in this case, which means we have satisfied all his wishes. And now we check the additional actions card here, and this free action also allows him to move 1 guest with completed order to a free room. We just completed the order, so we can pretty much move this customer into an available room. This is a tourist, a wild card, so he can go to any colored room here. I think I will go for this one here. This is already great news. For once I gain 2 victory points. I gain the bonus of this card, which says I gain 2 favor points from the Emperor. 1 and 2. So right now I'm already in the neutral zone of the mood track of the Emperor. So if I would end up in this zone, I would not get any reward, but I would also not suffer the penalty. And some of the penalties are really mean. So in this case, if I would suffer the penalty here after round 3, I would lose all my resources that are currently in the kitchen back to the reserve. This could be really devastating. Here I would have to basically get rid of 3 staff cards from my hand, or would lose 7 victory points, also mean. And by the end of round 7, if I would get penalized, I would lose 1 staff, 1 hired staff, or also would lose 10 victory points. But we are not done yet. We have just completed 1 colored region of this hotel. It's a very small region, but still it does count. And for completed red regions, I gain money. It was a very small region, so I only get $1. And last but not least, we have to discard this customer here. Let's place the die we've just used on our action turn order token here, and as he's the last player and this was the 3rd turn, he will take the next turn immediately, because it's after 3, it's 4. And the first thing that you do is to claim another hotel guest, and I think I will go for this tourist here. This time this will cost me $1, but I think this is pretty much okay. And now he's taking his action, and I think he will go for action number 2. And this is pretty much the same rule as with action number 1. So you can basically take any number of resources, but not more coffee than wine. So he will do it like this: 1 wine, 1 coffee. He will deliver the wine immediately to this sculptor here. Then he will take his free action in order to move this customer to a free room. So let's go for this one. This was a yellow customer, so he has to move into a yellow room. The remaining coffee goes straight to his kitchen. This guest doesn't provide him any victory points, but he gets a bonus, and this one lets him prepare a room up to the 2nd floor for 0 money basically. And I think he will prepare this yellow room. Normally this would cost him $1. In this case this is free of charge, and he does this because of this politics card here. So the first player to claim this reward here is getting 15 victory points for that. And how do you claim the reward? You basically have to have 4 yellow rooms and 3 blue rooms completed, and right now he's on a good track to achieve this. So here are 4 yellow rooms, here are potential 3 blue rooms, so overall he's doing good. Last but not least, let's place the die on the 2nd spot. So this was pretty much the turn of the purple player. Now we come back to the yellow player, who grabs himself, I guess, yeah, a blue gas like this. Let's slide everything down, and now all seats are taken in his restaurant. And again, he cannot lose those guests voluntarily. He really have to complete their orders before he's allowed to move them out. And I guess for his main action he will go for the action number 2 here. There's only 1 die, so he would get either 1 red die, but he cannot take a black die here because you can never take more black die than red die. But as he has the restaurant chef or the restaurant manager, he gets 1 extra good here. So in this case he will go for 1 red and 1 black. And he can immediately deliver those to the guests here. And now I guess he will go for one of those free actions here, and this is this one here: move up to 3 dishes and drinks from your kitchen onto your guest cards. This costs him another $1, but this lets him transport 3 goods to his guests: 1, 2 and 3. In this case he completed the order of the Baroness here, so he takes his next free action, so he will make her happy. Therefore he gets 5 victory points, so 5 here. Of course we have to move the lady into a room here, and rooms that are on the upper floors also provide you some more victory points by the end of the game. So you see that little number here. So for every room that is occupied by the end of the game you get those amount of victory points. In this case this would be 2 additional victory points by the end of the game. But he can still get the bonus of the guest here, which allows him to draw 3 staff cards and hire one of those 3 for a discount of $3. This is really huge. So let's see what he gets. And those are the 3 cards that he just drew. He can get this for free because of the bonus, the staff manager. So anytime he uses the action number 3, he's also allowed to hire another staff card. Of course he has to pay the full price for that, but still allows you to take 2 actions with 1 die. That's great. This one gives you $1 extra whenever you occupy a room. That's also great. And this housekeeper gives you 4 extra victory points whenever he's moving a guest with 4 cubes to a room. I think he will really go for the staff manager here. He can hire him, yeah, basically at no cost, which is great. So we still have to place the die on his board, and now it's over to the blue player, who still has one more action left, and of course he's also allowed to get a customer, and I think he will get Marco Polo here. Awesome, love the artwork, really nice references in this game. So let's slide those down. This would cost him $1, but I guess this should be fine for him. And right now he doesn't really know what he wants to do with those dice, so I think I can show you basically the last mechanic, or one of the last mechanics in this game, which is the passing mechanism. So he will now declare that he will pass, so it would go over to the other players. If they would pass as well, then it move over to the next player, and either if all players have passed, or if he's basically the last player left, he would now be allowed to re-roll the dice. And there this nice little trash bin comes into play. So he has now to get rid of one of those dice, placing it into the trash bin, and then he's allowed to re-roll all remaining dice. And yeah, place them accordingly here on the board. And again, we see a very poor roll, so I think he will just do that again. Place one in the trash bin. Let's re-roll the remaining dice, and I guess this is much better. So I think with this result he will totally go for this action here. So 3 times coffee or wine. So I think he has to go for 2 wine and 1 coffee, because you can never get more coffee than wine. He's allowed to place those immediately. I think he will do that right away. Then he will take his free action here, move up to 3 dishes and drinks. This costs him an additional $1. So let's deliver 3 dishes or drinks. So this guest is complete. We have still one more. Let's go for this. I think this is a strudel. So he is now allowed to move this guest into a blue room. Unfortunately, he was not able to finish this room, but nevertheless he gets $1 bonus and 10 victory points. And I just noticed I moved the wrong counter here. I think yellow should be on 5 victory points and blue will be on 10. Wow, awesome. Then it's basically the end of round 1. So we move the turn tracker or round tracker 1 space ahead, though this time we will not have the emperor scoring, only by the end of round 3, 5 and 7. Let's return all the dice back to the common pool. The turn order tokens are normally passed in a clockwise direction. I played here a little bit differently. And then we would move over to round number 2, and the game goes on until 7 rounds are played, and then there will be one final scoring round for those emperors, and whoever has the most victory point by the end of round 7 will be the winner of Grand Austria Hotel. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed my little walkthrough of Grand Austria Hotel. I really cannot repeat enough how much I like this game. I really hope some things got clear. I could have shown you a little bit more, but yeah, 1 round is really limited. But I will really keep it open for now. So I will keep the setup as it is. And if you feel the need to see 1 or 2 more rounds, please leave a comment on my YouTube channel or wherever, Board Game Geek, and I will consider doing another video, maybe consisting of 2 more rounds, in order to also show you the Emperor scoring. Again, I will leave it up to you. Hope to see you soon in one of my next videos, and yeah, until then, bye bye.